and welcome to Fiction Friction, a podcast where we will be talking about books and reading and also anything else we might want to talk about. My name is Joe, I am one of your hosts.
And my name is Bill, I'm another host. What do I say?
And that's it, there's no more hosts, that's it. That implied there was more than two, but there isn't. And so for our first episode, for our inaugural episode, William, I don't know if you're aware, but you have a book coming out.
I'd completely forgotten.
Depending on when this episode comes out, the book might already be out, we just don't know. But yeah, you have a book coming out. How does that feel? How are you feeling about that?
I mean, it's very exciting, but I would like to say to these viewers, who, if anyone's listening today, this is going to be a very self-indulgent episode, but it is our podcast and not yours. So
we can do whatever we want.
Yeah. But in the future, we shall be covering more than just our own stuff, and I think we've got some really fun plans going on. But book-wise, I'm very excited. I can't wait. I think I've got to the point where I'm less nervous, and I'm just like, it's been done for so long now that I just want it out in the world.
I will say neither of us have actually said what the book is called. The book is called Be Right Back.
It is the sequel.
It is the sequel to 2024's Let's Split Up, which was the highest selling YA debut of 2024, if I'm correct.
In the UK. Hell yeah.
In the UK. Okay, there were more.
It flopped in the US.
In that. No, it didn't. It's not. No. It's a sleeper. Could you tell us? Could you tell us a little bit about the book, please?
The first one. I'm assuming that's of the new one.
Well, of the new one, yeah.
Okay, so Be Right Back is the sequel, as Joe said, to Let's Split Up, which is basically what I describe as Scooby-Doo meets Scream, and my publisher agrees, and they kind of ran with that. It basically follows on the events that happened in the first book about a year and a bit later, when the town is still recovering, but the mayor decides it's a good idea to bring forth this like Halloween festival to kind of commemorate those who were lost and trying to like raise money for the town, because it's become sort of a hotspot for the true crime enthusiasts and all of that kind of jazz. And our friends have gone off to college, all of them except Cam, because he kind of doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. Relatable. And, of course, some horrors come with this festival too. Okay,
so you mentioned, like, Scream and Scooby-Doo, and I think the influences, the things that have influenced you as you've been writing both Let's Split Up and Be Right Back, are very obvious. They are, like, Scream, Scooby-Doo, I Know What You Did Last Summer. They're, like, 90s and noughties horror. Why did you choose horror? And why specifically that era of like 90s and noughties?
I think as a person, I just really enjoy the horror genre in general. But in particular, I always gravitate to the ones that feel really self-referential, have a bit of comedy to them. And it's weird because you think like horror and comedy, you think on paper couldn't be furthest from each other. But they somehow mix really, really well. And I've always just loved that, so I wanted to try my hand at it, and I think it turned out all right. But I don't know, I think as well, horror just in general, in our political climate, it's just become such a great avenue for talking about issues. And in Be Right Back, as I was drafting it, it just became really apparent, and very quickly during actually the plotting of it, that the story was going to revolve a lot around like the misinformation, how quickly that spreads, the media, and yeah, horror's just a great avenue to do that in.
I was recently rewatching Scream 2, and Randy, the guy who like says all the rules in Scream, well, only in Scream 1 and Scream 2, spoilers for Scream 2, but he dies, R.I.P. Randy. And one of his rules in Scream 2 is that the sequel is always more elaborate. Yeah. And I do think that is the case with Be Right Back. It is more elaborate than Let's Split Up. How do you go about plotting a mystery like this, firstly? And secondly, how did you go about making this one more complex and more elaborate?
I mean, first off, like, plotting a book is different for everyone. Like, when I plotted Let's Split Up, I didn't. I just threw everything at a wall and just, yeah. And then I kind of had
when
to
I plotted Let's Split Up, I didn't.
I basically just like added in the clues afterwards, which works, but I think first to actually write a story, especially with that is so elaborate. I mean, and being with a publisher now, you kind of have to plot everything out. They've got to approve stuff. So with this one, I kind of knew the setting. I knew what I wanted to do with it, and it was just trying to work out where all these characters were and trying to kind of... It's like a puzzle piece, just trying to fit everything in. But yeah, I knew I wanted it to be a more elaborate, and I don't want to spoil too much, but I knew that in terms of like antagonists, I wanted to do something a bit different and maybe something that's not always seen in sequels where we kind of have perhaps more than one bad guy, which is kind of fun. Or like at least, yeah, I'm not going to spoil too much, but yeah, it was tricky, and I think as well, whenever you're writing a sequel to a book that's done pretty well, there's that nervousness of like, okay, is a reader who loved the first book, are they going to gel with this one too? But yeah, I'm excited to see what people think of it.
I mean, I definitely think people will. I mean, as someone who read the first one and enjoyed it, I then enjoyed the second one because it's the same vibe and it's the same cast of characters, but it's definitely, I would say, like, ups the ante.
I think it's a little bit more mature, and it just goes with characters being older as well. They've obviously got a lot of trauma from the first book.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you mentioned it's more mature, and we've mentioned already that both of the books are YA. You love YA.
Yeah.
It's something that you've spoken a lot about in the past. How do you balance the fact that this is YA with the fact that not only is this book a horror book, because I think you can have horror without it being too violent, but it is a slasher. You know, violence sort of comes with the territory. How do you go about balancing that?
I mean, to be fair, when I sold it to Scholastic, obviously, if you don't know Scholastic, children's publisher, kids and YA, they don't do anything above that. So I was nervous that maybe they were going to kind of water it down. That's not to say Let's Book was anything crazy, but I wasn't sure, like, the limit. But then you really think about it, it's like, well, they have the Hunger Games, which is pretty bleak. But yeah, the whole time they were just like, yeah, let's make this more bloody. And I'm like, guys, you're a kids publisher, but okay. But yeah, it was interesting. I think, especially in terms of YA nowadays, I think so much of it leans upper YA. I mean, when I was a bookseller, I really struggled finding YA books for sort of like a younger crowd, or books that didn't feel like adult books just disguised as YAs. And that's not to say I love those sort of books. I read, so look at my shelf, I've got half of my shelf is them. I think it's just sometimes you need something that feels a little bit more mature, but prose-wise is like a bit more accessible, and I purposely did that because I'm thinking back to sort of like, if you think of like the teen horror movies like Scream, I know we did last summer, they're horror, but they're kind of like easy watching, they're fun, and I kind of wanted to translate that into book form. So that's why it is not super flowery prose. And I mean, I get emails now all the time from parents of like teenagers, like, my kids got dyslexia or they really struggle reading, but Let's Split Up was perfect for them. And I'm just like, oh my god, hell yeah. It seems like I've done something right.
That's hi parent, oh my god, hell yeah.
Yeah,
all the best.
That was them, yeah.
So what you're saying is they might not be at the Scholastic Book Fair when they were. Do they still do those?
Yeah,
do they wheel those trucks in?
Yeah, they do. I was speaking, when I went to sign Be Right Back, I signed 2,000 copies at the printers recently, and I went with like my Scholastic team, and a lot of them deal with the Scholastic Book Fairs. But yeah, they do them in primary and secondary school still. Let's Burp was their lead YA title last autumn.
In primary schools.
Yeah, in primary schools, yeah.
In preschools.
But yeah, that's one thing I miss. I used to love going to Scholastic Book Fair, because I think for a lot of kids, it's like that one time where they get to choose what book they want and not their parents at the bookshop or at Christmas, or where they just get a book.
Choosing shitty books for them to read in English that are terrible, that I hate.
And outdated, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, did you like any of the books that you read at school? Because I didn't. Not a single one.
I mean, I remember doing like, is it Kensuke's Kingdom by Michael Morpurgo, which I thought was quite fun. But
see, we never did any Michael Morpurgo.
That was like towards like probably year 5 and 6. I think also it's really down to your teacher. If they're really passionate about English, like my brother Ted, he's in year 8 now, but in year 5 and 6 he had the same teacher who's literally a book blogger. So he was bringing brand new titles for these kids, and all the kids, you would see them in the playground reading before school. And it is really down to, I mean, they're so impressionable at that age. If they're being given quality, fun books that kids actually want to read, they'll read.
Yeah, we did this book. I can't remember. I was in year 5 or 6, and it was called Isaac Campion. And it was just about a boy living on a farm. And the only thing I remember about it was him just brushing a horsetail for like 20 pages.
Cinema.
It was so boring. And like, had I not already had a love of reading before that, like, no wonder kids my age are like, oh, I don't like reading sometimes. I say kids my age. I am 28 years old.
But we know what you mean.
Like, no wonder people my age don't like it if that is the stuff you're giving them. Like, anyway, that was totally off topic.
But necessary conversation.
But necessary. So, in Let's Split Up and Be Right Back, you have 4 protagonists who are all sort of going through their own, like, trials and tribulations. They all have their own little plot threads. Could you tell me about all 4 of them? But also, when you start a new project like you did with Let's Split Up, do you have those 4 already fleshed out and you're like, this is what's going to happen to them, this is what they're going to deal with, or does that come as you write it?
I mean, I keep saying this, but like, Let's Split Up, no, because it was literally just, I wrote it and I didn't plan anything out. Nowadays, I don't do that. I plan everything out beforehand. And it was a lot easier for Be Right Back because obviously I know those characters, and with it being multi-POV, you can kind of have fun with it, and it's sometimes really tricky trying to make sure those voices feel different. But I mean, that's what editing's for anyway. But like, I knew if people have read it, you can kind of tell those characters they're almost like stereotypes from like a teen horror film, but also then kind of subverted. So we think like Cam's, I guess, the jock of the group, but he's very aware that he's the jock and he doesn't want to lean into those stereotypes, but he's also bi. So it's like, obviously not very typical for that sort of genre. And then you've kind of got Jonesy, who's like the quiet, shy nerd. And then you've got Amber, who's, I guess, kind of like the mother of the group. And then Buffy's just like the suspicious one in the corner. And that's just a lot of fun. But I found as well, especially with Let's Split Up, when I was trying to work out their voices, I think back, there's a particular chapter in the first book where they're in the manor, Carrington Manor, and they're going down to the like tunnels underneath the manor. And that specific chapter, I remember rewriting from all of their point of views because I didn't know which one would work the best. I was like, who would be like most frightened? Do we want to show that they're frightened? Like, yes, maybe we should. And at this time as well, Buffy actually had a point of view throughout the entire book. That wasn't something that was removed until we sold the book. And I mean, I feel like I should just talk about this now because people know that she's in the sequel. So obviously she's not really a suspect. So it's hard to avoid that. But yeah, that was all done to like kind of raise suspicions of her, another suspect for the list. And I think that's what's fun about a mystery is like you can make people turn on anyone with just a couple words. Yeah,
and well, you mentioned as well, like making the voices feel different. How do you go about that when they're all first person? And why do you think that people in our generation prefer first person books? Like, why do you think that's a thing?
I mean, I just love writing first person because I think it's really fun to get into people's heads. And I think, especially for a YA demographic, it just seems to click. I honestly don't really know. Yeah,
in people's heads.
I don't really know why people enjoy it, but I really enjoy writing it, and I just find that most of my books end up being first person. But differentiating them is sometimes a little tricky. I did dabble with like making certain phrases very, very distinct for every character, but then during editing, people would be like, this feels like a little bit drastic. Like, would she really be saying this still if she'd moved away from her town 5 years ago? Stuff like that. I think it comes down to almost just like how they act, how they speak, of course. So like Jonesy, obviously a bit more timid, he might stutter a little bit more. Buffy's very, very confident in herself. Cam obviously is throwing the jokes around, and it's just, sometimes it's almost like context clues to work out who's speaking, because I feel like with novels as well, everyone's always saying to like use as not as many speech tags as possible or something, which I don't
agree with.
I don't agree with all the time. I get it sometimes when you look at a page and it's like, he said, she said, he said, she said, and it's like, okay,
yeah, definitely.
It's a bit exhausting now, and I think sometimes, yeah, it's really fun to try and work out how to differentiate them without using a speech tag, but I think sometimes it's also necessary.
You self-published a book in 2022. I have it right here. Here it is.
A relic.
He laughs awkwardly. I think very fondly of it because it's how we became friends. So it's a little bit talismanic to me. So I think very fondly of it. What do you think, if anything, you learned from that process? Was there anything you learned from self-publishing a book?
What didn't I learn? I mean, it's kind of like, obviously it was my first taster of the industry. I think, because obviously I was on TikTok before, but I was on the other side, the reader, reviewer side. So it kind of gave me a taste into what that could be. I think, I mean, I love that book still. I don't think it really represents where I am as an author now, and that's why it's not available. But it's just, I don't know, I think without it, Let's Split Up would have been obviously a lot worse. I mean, I've written other books in the meantime, but Let's Split Up was the one that I actually started writing before that one. And then it was when Let's Split Up, I just couldn't get the tone I wanted right with it. I went to that, and it definitely helped me grow as a writer, and I wouldn't, like, go back and delete it or anything, but it was definitely a time in time.
A time in time. I mean, I do think that as someone who writes a lot but has never actually finished anything, I do think there was a whole book I wrote last year that will never see the light of day because it's not very good. But I do think I learned so much from it. I don't think any writing is wasted.
No, no.
But you have been writing for a really long time. Do you think having a published book under your belt when you came to write Be Right Back made the process any different?
Yeah, I mean, especially because Let's Split Up did kind of better than I think anyone expected. I had that kind of pressure of like, okay, is this sequel? Well, I mean, if anyone doesn't know, originally there wasn't supposed to be a sequel. It was just when Let's Split Up overperformed that my publisher was like, hey, shall we scrap this other book you were doing, this other standalone, and like do a sequel instead? And I remember replying really fastly and saying yes, because I was really excited about writing one. And I always wanted to. I always had ideas because I think the format of this book just lends itself really well for more mysteries. Of course it does. But I was nervous because, one, reader expectation, when a sequel's done well, they're going to want something that's as good, or if not better. If it's not as good, you're going to find out. And then also, I hate when a sequel comes out and it just feels like, what was the purpose of this other than sales, you know? And it took me a minute to like feel confident in the idea. Originally I was thinking something else, and then I was like, no, I think doing this, making sure that it feels mature, making sure the characters feel older, because I was just, I guess, trying to make it realistic in the sense that if these kids went through this traumatic experience at like 17, 18, a year later, that's still going to affect them. And I think that's one thing in horror, especially films. Most of the time, they've got a new friend group and they're fine. And like maybe
they bounce back.
Yeah, maybe they have
quickly.
Yeah, maybe they have a nightmare sometimes. But I will say that's one good thing about the newest Halloween trilogy. They really go in on the PTSD, and that's my favourite part of it.
The only good thing.
I love the first Halloween movie.
The first one was so
the
good.
First of the new trilogy. That's what we.
Yeah. I mean that's that one, and then Halloween Kills. They're the only Halloween films I've ever seen.
Mm.
No, that's not true. I have seen the Rob Zombie one as well.
Oh.
Did he do one?
Interesting choice.
I know that I have seen it, but I remember nothing about it. But I remember my old housemate and I watched the first Halloween movie, the first of the reboot, and it was so good. It was. Like the ending especially, like I'm going to spoil the ending of the most recent Halloween movie.
Halloween 2018.
Yeah, so skip ahead if you do care. But that bit where the daughter, played by Judy Greer, is that her name? It's like screaming in the basement, and then there's like that moment where she switches and they trap her in the basement. Oh, it was so good. So I was really excited when Halloween Kills came out. It was just terrible. It was so bad.
You saved yourself from Halloween Ends as well then.
Yeah, I was kind of curious And I thought, no, do you know what will be a lot quicker is if I just read the plot summary on Wikipedia. And then I did that, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm not missing out. So how much do you think Be Right Back changed from like your first draft to what people will be getting in their hands on October 9th, which is, by the way, when the book comes out? And how much, like, is it difficult to edit a mystery? Because, like, obviously there are certain clues that can't change, maybe.
I mean, honestly, I think that's one thing that people seem to think, especially maybe if they're self-published first. Like, I thought when I'd get an editor, a traditional proper editor who would do random edits, that the book would drastically change. And it really doesn't. If obviously if your story's solid and it has, like, you know, whatever, they're not gonna completely gut the book. Like, the biggest thing that changed in Let's Split Up was they said we should probably get rid of Buffy's POV, which was such a good idea because it adds another suspect to the mix. With the sequel, again, didn't really change. It's kind of just they're there to kind of hone in on what's already good. And they're like, what if we add more of this character? Because then they can do this, and they can link in here. So they're going to be like a through line throughout the entire thing. And they kind of just like take your ideas and they actually just fully realize them, if that makes sense. And yeah, they're just like I feel like the MVPs, and they're so like sometimes misunderstood about like what they actually do. They don't change your book. They just make it what it it's always been, but it's just like under the surface, if that makes sense.
Editors, the MVPs of publishing, you heard it first. I will say, I think my favourite character in Be Right Back is, and this is going to be a bit of a left field choice, but my favourite character is the mayor, because he is just so hopeless and so stupid, and I just think he's so funny. I really, really enjoyed him. I want a spin-off about the mayor. Anyway, at this point in time, do you have any ideas for a book 3? Because I feel like it does maybe have to be a trilogy, because that's kind of what all these horror franchises are before they start spinning off into legacy sequels and spin-off TV shows and stuff, in the vein that Scream did. Is there a book 3, or are you ready to do something else now?
I'm ready. I mean, from the start, before I sold it, I could picture it as a trilogy. Again, it's all down to how this one does. But I have ideas. I know what it would be called. And I'm excited because I think it would be very different. And I'm intrigued to see what would happen with it.
You're intrigued to see what would happen, even though it would come out of your brain. Well, like I said, Be Right Back is out on October 9th. I think you have done something very special with these books, because they are very clear, like I said, in what they're influenced by, but they don't feel derivative at all. I think they stand on their own. I think you've done a very good job with both of them.
Thank you. Joe is promoting my book for me. He's better at this than me.
I feel a bit acid refluxy now. Anyway, now for something completely different. We are about to play a game which I am very, very excited about. This is the Google Translate game. What Bill and I have done is we've taken the blurbs of 3 books each that we both know that we have both read. Mm-hmm. We have put them through approximately 1,000 languages in Google Translate, so they very much do not represent what they originally were. We're going to read them out, and then we have to try and figure out what they are.
Yeah.
So I did mine last night, and there is a sentence that I don't think I'm actually going to be able to read out loud because it makes me laugh so much, and it's so far away from what I'm already laughing thinking about it. But right, would you like to go first? You go first.
Okay. I get this first one. I can't remember if you actually have read, but you know the book, so you'll be able to.
Okay.
Yeah,
do you have the original blurb, like, to read out?
No, but I mean, I can quickly pull it up if we need to.
Okay. Well, no, that's fine. You just read it out, and I'll see if I can figure it out.
Okay. So, see, you might be able to guess it from the first sentence, but we'll see.
Okay.
Ready. Paige's student attack. Need more?
Yeah, I do need more.
She is a friendly scientist, insert name, Snow White Snowfall. The attachment of the door of the road is the nose gazelle of the devotee. State of state attachment. State to mill villain and peaceful rewards. A language that I can't speak. Answer movement attachment. Attachment to Ramadan or the snowflake.
Attachment to Ramadan on the snowflake. Well, you said page, so my brain... Is that it? That is it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You said page, so my brain straight away went to the Bone Season, but I don't think it is the Bone Season,
It's
is it?
not the Bone Season, no.
Okay, page. What has pages in it? Is it page as in Page?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it Inkblood Sister Scribe?
No.
Damn it.
But I think
What has
you're reading too much into pages.
Okay.
I would probably lean into the second word more.
Can you read me the first sentence again, please?
Pages student attack.
Student attack. Student attack. Is it a deadly inheritance?
No.
Student. What has... Is it The Secret History?
No.
I'm doing so badly at this. Pages student attack. Pages student... Is it fantasy?
Yes. But
Is it Babel?
Close.
Is it Catabasis?
Yes.
Yes! Point to me. Point to me. Okay, right.
That was hard.
That was hard. That was hard. That was like if an alien had tried to learn English, but just from like...
I don't know where Ramadan came from. I don't know where Snowflake came from.
Some of that was... I mean, if you don't know where some of that came from, I'm excited for you to hear this one. Right, okay.
Oh, God. I'm ready.
A beautiful story fighting the woman and the dragon to protect her in a world at war. The Puritan dynasty ruled blank for over 1,000 years.
I know
the
what it is.
sorceress Surana, the ninth queen, must give birth to a daughter to save her kingdom from destruction, but the assassin has a hand. And Dorian's challenge. Even as she grows into a mother from the future, a group of wizards takes her inside. He protects Saber and shields her from danger. Last night, Tanya learned that riding a horse wasn't worth the effort and could do something that would cost her life. If you're looking to stretch your arms, you need to make sure you're doing the right thing. What do you think that is?
Is it Pro of the Orange Tree?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. It's weird because some of the names sounds very similar to what they actually are, but they're also different.
One of them I had to blank out, but the rest I think were pretty changed. But I'm just gonna cross-reference because I think some of it's quite obvious. But last night, Tanya learned that riding a horse wasn't worth the effort. That originally was across the dark sea. Tane has trained to be a dragon rider since she was a child, but is forced to make a choice that could see her life unravel. And
Close enough.
if you're looking to stretch your arms, you need to make sure you're doing the right thing. Was meanwhile, the divided East and West refuse to parley and forces of chaos are rising from their sleep.
I think Samantha would approve.
Now, how did that become, if you're looking to stretch your arms, you need to make sure you're doing the right thing? Anyway, right. You read your second one.
Okay. Cornell found a single spider on the north coast of Ireland and quickly ended the draw. Buxall and Cornell popular, you like it well. You have redacted out. However, if the two started talking about interesting, they would change their lives.
Sorry, it's the bit where you started rapping that made me laugh. You were like, Buxall and Cornell, you like it well.
I know, I noticed the rhythm.
I have no idea.
It's a short one.
It's a short one.
Yeah.
It's set in Ireland. Ireland.
Cornell is pretty close to how it would sound in the actual blurb.
Cornell. Normal People.
Yeah.
By Sally Rooney.
That
Yes!
was good.
That was in one try. That was. I'm so pleased with myself. Okay, I feel like you might get.
Okay.
After a tragic loss, Blank and Blank return home, hoping for a more peaceful future. But his victory leads to trouble, and the decision is up to the city. The ordeal ends with Blank and Blank being chased into the streets behind the city. Unless they can convince the world that they still love each other, things will only get worse. Then the worst happens. The curse is lifted, and blank must return to the dance.
I have no idea.
See, I think... I mean, obviously I know it, so I think this one is pretty
Fantasy?
obvious, but... No, I don't know why I made that noise. It's not. Adjacent. Think, like, if you were shelving it, it would be in the fantasy and...
Sci-fi.
Yeah.
What's sci-fi?
But also maybe not... I don't think they would shelve it in sci-fi. I think they would shelve it more in the age group that it would go in.
YA?
Yes. For the listeners, I'm nodding.
Would you say... So you said, like, a ball or a dance, didn't you?
Yeah, that's not relevant. That's not relevant. That...
God. Like, two main characters, I'm assuming, then, from your...
One main character...
And a romance.
And they yeah, but the romance is not like it's not romantic. Like that's not really an element. Like there is a relationship in it and like romance in it, but it's not like science fiction.
Have you read
romance. Yes, I have read it. I would say it's probably my favorite in this series. Think about them returning home, but then having to go back into something.
The Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Catching Fire.
Yeah, I can't believe you're swearing at me right now.
that I was really picturing like a fantasy ball, even though you didn't say it's all I could have him.
Yeah, I know, and it's obviously changed capital to the city, which I think makes it sound like, yeah, it's. I mean, the bit that made me laugh is like things could only get worse, and then the worst happens. The curse is lifted, which was then comes the cruelest twist. The contestants for the next Hunger Games are announced, and Katniss and Peter are forced into the arena once more. Became they must return to the dance. But yeah.
See, now that I know it, it makes perfect sense.
I mean, now that you know the answer, it's really easy. What is your final one?
Okay, the names are still pretty similar, so I'm going to have to redact them. So,
but that was how I got the last one.
As a child, redacted, left the wisdom of the earth at home and became someone like you. I hope redacted returns home as a KK rat.
KK Slider from Animal Crossing.
You have to stop doing, stop acting, and after escaping and farming, the next best mountain, direct that prostitute. Will she be able to escape from the Earth family?
You said one bit and I can't remember what it was, but you said it so sassily and you did like a little headbutt.
Was it after escaping and farming and farming?
It was a bit, I think it was like you have to stop doing
stop acting.
That was it. I have no idea. KK Rat.
Yeah, I don't know what that is supposed to be.
That's interesting because my next one has farming.
Wait, let me look at the original blurb and see if I can make out what it is. Yeah, I feel like you've definitely read this.
Okay, I've definitely read this.
I think you've read
Fantasy?
multiple.
Fantasy?
No.
It's almost... I've read multiple.
Of this author.
Oh, of this author. Okay, so it's like, not fantasy.
I would say it's almost leaning towards litfic.
Oh, okay. This is definitely my wheelhouse. So it's someone with multiple
I don't know
books.
what that word's supposed to be.
Wheelhouse or KK Rat?
Okay. KK Rat. I can't even find out what that word was supposed to be.
KK Rat is when you want to do Animal Crossing but you don't want to pay the rights, so you get KK Rat instead of KK Slider.
It's literally just capital K, rat.
KK Rat. I genuinely have no idea. Right, I'm going to start. Is it Maggie O'Farrell? No. Okay.
Oh, do you want? I'll give you a hint. It's translated.
Yeah. It's translated. Is it Sayaka Murata? Is it Convenience Store Woman?
No.
Earthlings.
Yes, it's Earthlings.
Yeah. How? And farming and farming and farming.
I don't know.
Well, that's interesting because my next one has farming in it as well.
Okay, I'm going to get it.
So this is my next one. When blank and blank clean on their farm, their friends are furious. In Sunny, where relationship of the practical broke on a Tuesday, posted say the town's hooligans have been teasing them for 12 years have passed. As food, sunshine, bees, and kids search for a new character, this story is inside the truth. He ran home, searching for a new face. It could be a good story or a bad time.
What genre are we in? Are we like fantasy?
No.
Have you read it? Have we both read this?
We've definitely both read this. Do you want to hear any of it again?
The bit about like a new face, is that like relevant?
Not, well, relevant in that they're looking for someone that they don't know.
I feel like you're better at this game than me.
To be fair, you did give me a lot of clues. You 100% have read this.
Read the first line again.
When blank and blank clean on their farm, their friends are furious. That holds no bearing whatsoever to what it actually is. But I actually didn't have to translate. I couldn't read out the first lines, but I didn't have to redact the names in the last paragraph because they became food, sunshine, bees, and kids.
Can you tell me what genre we're in, at least?
No, because you'll get it instantly.
So that means it's the biggest book of that specific genre or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, we've already done the Hunger Games.
It's not the Hunger Games. It might be shelved in the same place as the Hunger Games.
They're looking... Is it like Eragon?
No.
Oh wait, we
It's
said
not fantasy. It's not fantasy.
Are we like in a mystery sort of vibe?
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking biggest mystery book is like A Good Girl's Guide to Murder or something.
No.
That could have made sense because they were small.
Think a little closer to home.
Is it fucking my book?
It's Let's Split Up by Bill Wood. I love that Cam, Jonesy, Amber, and Buffy, a new girl Buffy, become as food, sunshine, bees, and kids.
That's them personified.
Yeah, but also when hot it couple Brad and Shelley are brutally murdered in a manor on the edge of town, a group of teens friends investigate becomes when blank and blank clean on their farm, their friends are furious.
Yeah, that's nothing.
But also, what does where relationship of the practical broke on a Tuesday?
Yeah, how am I supposed to get that? That's
some like, you know when you read like a bad fantasy book? That's what that sounds like.
I mean, sometimes these sentences kind of like make sense, but then other times...
Well, yeah, but it's because you're hearing words that in your brain individually make sense. So you're like, there should be some sense there. Mm-hmm. But when I read out in Sunny, where relationship of the practical broke on a Tuesday, you're like, I know what all those words mean independently. But then when you put them in a sentence, your brain just malfunctions.
It also feels like that if I was a little bit more intelligent, it could actually mean something.
No, but there's no way. There's no way. You wrote that book and you couldn't get it. I also like searching for a face.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's like the searching for the...
Yeah.
I don't know. Unmasking.
I think it's splitting up to find evidence.
Oh, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
This kind of reminds me of, is it the Lee Bardugo quote? It's like, to be a blade, or whatever the phrase is.
I
am a blade.
I am become the blade, or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, and like, technically it does make sense, but also the average brain is like, huh?
Yeah, but also Mal is stupid and I hate him, so... Anyway, we're not going to talk about Shadow and Bone right now, because how did it... I still don't understand how he didn't die at the end of Shadow and Bone, but anyway...
Spoilers!
Sorry. Well, he doesn't die, so... Also, that book came out...
Spoilers!
Anyway, we are coming to the end of the episode, and a thing we have decided we would like to do is at the end of the episode, I haven't come up with a cool name for it. We're going to talk about one thing we've been reading, one thing we've been watching, and one other thing we've been doing. It's the reading, watching, other thing we've been doing portion of the podcast. So, William, what is one thing that you have been reading?
I'm currently reading the new Hex Girls book, which is very on brand for me.
It's so on brand for you.
It's called The Hex Girls, A Rogue Thorn by Lily Mead, who is like a huge Scooby-Doo fan, so this book feels very much... like, very faithful to the original series, but it is basically a sequel to Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost, which has been a lot of fun, because that was always one of my favourite movies growing up.
And it's a good movie.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's a lot gayer than I expected, but
Good.
in the best way possible. What are you reading, Joe?
I just finished. I'm actually not in the middle of anything because I did a 24-hour readathon yesterday.
Ouch.
Because I'm slumping so hard because the Booker Prize has been really boring this year. But I have it right here. I finished yesterday The Forester's Daughter by Claire Keegan.
It couldn't be any more different. The Hex Girls.
No. I was thinking that as you were saying it. But listen, we have overlapping but also very wildly different tastes. So Claire Keegan is the author of Small Things Like These,
I've read
So
that.
Late in the Day, Foster. I love her.
Mm-hmm.
She's very sparse. She doesn't say a lot, but you can get a lot of meaning from it. This is a book
Sure.
that is about a farmer and his wife and their children, and just kind of they're all a bit unhappy, and it's about the secrets that we keep and how they affect the other people in our lives. She is such a good writer.
Yeah.
That, like, you know, when you're reading something and as you're reading it, you're like, oh, you are so good. You are so good.
You're like, I
And,
wish
like,
I wrote this.
Yeah, I wish that I was this clever and this insightful and, like, knew so much about how people live their lives and the way that they act. Like, this is 67 pages. It is a short story, but it felt like a full book because it covered so much, but it wasn't rushed. The pacing was good. I am really excited to I have both of her short story collections, and I'm really excited to get into them because normally with a short story collection, I feel a bit like nervous because like the quality varies so wildly between stories, and like sometimes you're like grounded in a building, things are normal, and then in the next story they're like, the year is 2397, you are on a spaceship, and I'm like, I just get like tonal whiplash. But with her, I kind of know that each thing is going to be an absolute banger. So yeah, I really would highly recommend.
I've read a couple of Claire Keegan's, and each time they've been on the shorter side, but it almost feels like even though it is shorter, it's like she is not sacrificing like just greatness for the length of the book, if that makes sense. Like, it's just brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's so envious when you can do so much in such a succinct way. I think that's more impressive than someone who writes like a 600-700 page book. I think that's even more impressive when you can make me feel like all of the people in this book that is 67 pages long. If you can make me feel like I've read a 300-page book and I know all of those characters so intimately, and I've been on like a whole journey, then that's so impressive. That's so impressive.
Definitely, yeah.
Anyway, what have you been watching?
Okay, so I've been pretty basic recently. I haven't been watching a ton because I've been on deadline, but I have been feeling a little bit nostalgic recently, and I rewatched Avengers Infinity War, and
Oh my God!
had not seen it for probably 5-6 years, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
I don't think I've seen that since I saw it in the cinema.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen it since, like, probably at home when it first went on digital or whatever. But I had a great time. I do still stand by Infinity War being better than Endgame. I
knew you were going to say that. And I don't agree, but carry on.
Well, I know other people agree with me, so we'll have to agree to
well,
disagree.
One swallow does not a summer make.
I think just in terms of, like, emotion, that film is, I mean, it was such like a big lead up towards it, and I think it really pays off so well. And yeah, I felt like a teenager again watching it. It was really fun.
The fact that you were a teenager when that movie came out makes me feel sick.
It came out in 2018, right? I was 17.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, 17 when it came out.
Okay, well, that's the end of the podcast, everyone. Goodbye. No, right. I mean, I do still think Endgame is better. But that is because I like payoff, I like emotional payoff, and I like endings when endings are done well. And I do think Endgame is a very good ending to like the whole Infinity Saga. That is not to say that I don't think Infinity War is very good, because even though it is essentially a table-setting movie for the big ending and like final movie, I still think it has like narrative and it feels like its own story, even though it essentially is one half of a greater whole. And I think they realised that because they changed the name obviously to Endgame, which I think was a good choice, because they do feel like different movies. They have very different tones.
For sure. Like
Infinity War, I think, is a lot brighter and a lot more like normal Marvel, whereas Endgame feels very bleak for most of the time. Like it does still have humour and it is still funny. Like it does still have like the Marvel humour, but like I do think Infinity War is a good movie.
I do agree about the point of, even though like on paper Infinity War should have been ridiculously inferior. Because if you think about if you think back at many like part 1 or part 2 movies, like Breaking Dawn Part 1, Mockingjay Part 1, they're so much inferior because they've stretched out the film to make more money, basically. But like I mean, you look at like Breaking Dawn Part 1, nothing really happens. Mockingjay Part 1, stuff happens, but you compare it to like Part 2, which is just so much more explosive. It's literally it's
oh no. Oh.
I think
Oh.
I didn't even mean to do that, but whatever. Yeah, I think it should have been a lot worse than it is, and I think that's quite impressive just on its own.
I mean, I would argue that nothing happens in any of the Twilight movies, but anyway. Well, I think the difference is they're obviously drawing from source material, but they are kind of doing their own thing, aren't they, with these movies? So
yeah,
they can
for sure.
but yeah, I'm not saying Infinity War is a bad movie. I am doing an MCU rewatch. I've made it 2.5 movies in because I got halfway through Thor, the first Thor movie.
You did tell me this.
And I was like, I can't believe I've sat through this movie at least once, like more than once. This is so boring. And I was like, yeah, this one's going to be really good because it's directed by Kenneth Branagh. Like actual Kenneth Branagh.
Wild to think about.
Like,
yeah.
A guy who directs stuff at the Royal Shakespeare Company has directed a Marvel movie, and it was like not. It was boring. It was boring. But I was saying this to you the other day as well. I am kind of a bit over origin stories.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether that's because we've had 2 really good superhero movies in this year, in 2025, that have just kind of gone, we're not going to do an origin story. We're just going to drop you like in media res with Fantastic Four, which I thought was great. I loved it. I thought it was really fun. And Superman, which we both loved. Just kind of, you get like either a montage with Fantastic Four, or you get like a wall of text at the start of Superman to go, you know who these guys are. This is what's happening. Anyway, on with the movie. So to go back to a movie that feels so... It feels mean to call it basic. Because I don't think it is basic. And I think at the time, you know, all these movies being connected and all of these origin stories, because I think what we also have to remember as well is these weren't the super popular superheroes that everyone wanted to see. You know, before Iron Man, people were like, who Robert Downey Jr. is playing? Robert Downey Jr. is playing who? Who's he playing? Oh, that won't do well. So it feels mean, but like they are boring. I mean, no, that's not... Okay, I've watched 3.5 because I've also watched The Incredible Hulk. I've watched The Incredible Hulk and I completely forgot that I watched it. And that is a boring movie. Anyway, moving on. We should stop talking about the MCU. The thing I have been watching is Alien Earth on Disney+.
Yes.
The finale came out yesterday. I have absolutely loved it. I think it has been so good. The first thing I was really surprised about was just how much money they have spent on this show. Like, I kind of expect, like, to me, sci-fi stuff like that is a little bit niche. I kind of forget that it's not niche and that it does have mainstream appeal. I was going into it thinking it was going to look a little bit like low budget. Like they were going to be filming in like disused office buildings and stuff. It looks so expensive. Like the sets are incredible. The CG and the special effects are incredible. The practical effects are amazing. The performances are amazing. The writing is amazing. Because what they've essentially done is taken the world of Alien and told a what's that movie with Harrison Ford in it where he's hunting a synth?
I nearly said Indiana Jones.
Blade Runner. Yes, it's Indiana Jones. Blade Runner. They've basically told a Blade Runner story in that it's more about these synths that have... this isn't a spoiler because this is the premise of the show. They have taken terminally ill children, taken their consciousness and put them in like ultra-powered adult synth bodies. It feels funny that Disney's the one who published this, them being the biggest media conglomerate in the world. It's about how giant companies basically don't value human life. It's about playing God. And all of that stuff is just done so well. But also what is done so well as well is the creatures. Because I was listening to an interview on Mark Kermode's podcast with the creator, Noah Crawley, who did the Fargo TV series. And he was talking about how the life cycle of the xenomorph is like, we know it now. Like, it's old hat. Like, it might be a little bit gross depending on how they shoot it and how they actually do it physically. But we know that the egg will be the chest burster. No, the egg will be the face hugger, will be the chest burster, will be the xenomorph.
Yeah.
So what they tried to do with this is create new species that we don't understand the life cycle of, and we don't know what they're going to do, which I thought was really effective, because there's this fucking eye thing that I hated. It was so terrifying. Like, I'm sure you've probably seen all the memes about the sheep with the eye in it.
Yeah.
But it was effective because it scared me. But no, I just thought it was really great. I thought it was really, really great. I thought it was really fun.
No, I'm definitely going to watch it. I mean, you know me, I'm not a huge TV person, but when I love a franchise so much, I mean, Alien Romulus last year I thought was great.
It was
as well.
so good.
Yeah, so it's definitely on my watch list. But I agree, like you brought up the point about sci-fi being kind of niche. I was actually speaking to my agent about this not long ago, because I was talking about sci-fi and like how I'd written this sci-fi novel, and I realised that it's not as commercial, but I definitely want to do something with it one day. And we were just talking about it, because I'm like, I feel like every so often there will be a big sci-fi movie that loads of people go out to. You think Interstellar, Gravity was huge as well. I mean, Alien as well. But then I feel like it's very rare that actually translates to literature.
Yeah.
Which I find really, really interesting, because like surely it's kind of like a similar like demographic. I mean, maybe it's not, but it's, I don't know, I find that interesting.
It is something I've thought about as well, because I don't read a lot of sci-fi. I would say primarily the only science fiction books I've read I've read the first 2 Dune books by Frank Herbert.
Yeah.
And I would say that's probably... Oh, and Murderbot as well.
Yes.
But I wonder why that is. Do you think it's because reading it physically on a bit of paper just feels so at odds with the, like, sci-fi world that you're reading about?
I think it's more so, like, as a film, it's the spectacle of it all. And I think a lot of the time reading something that is so modern and sometimes can be quite confusing, it's a lot harder to visualize, so I feel like that turns a lot of people away. Saying that, there's many sci-fi books where they're less of the very confusing stuff and more of like a Guardians of the Galaxy type, and I wish people would give them more of a chance, because they're a lot of fun. I mean, one of my favorite books is The First Sister, which I think finds a really good middle ground between being like super modern and confusing, but also it's like almost like a commentary on, I mean, it's a very like, there's a lot of triggers in that book, so beware if anyone wants to read it, but it's brilliant. And it's one book that, just because it is sci-fi, just inherently less people are going to read it, which is a bit sad.
Yeah. I mean, I had a really good point and then I forgot it. Maybe it'll come back. Wait. Oh, that's it. Yeah, talking about Dune. Somebody said to me recently, oh, I want to read the book and I haven't seen any of the movies. And I was like, controversial, but I'm going to advise that you watch the movies first and then read the book.
I agree, yeah.
Because I read the book before the movie came out, because I was like, I want to read the book before the movie came out. Hated the book. Like, I really hated it. Mm-hmm. Found it really... Not hard, but I just couldn't... And it's not that I couldn't get my head around it. I don't know. It's weird, because like I could understand all the words I was reading on the page, but I was just like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever read. And well, actually, to be fair, I liked the first half, and then I didn't like... It gets particularly... Have you read the book?
I read the first one, yeah.
It gets weird in the second half, doesn't it? With like the baby that's talking and like... And I was like... Well, when I saw the first movie, I was like, well, I'm going to like this one because this is the half of the book I liked. And then I'm not going to like the second one. But I loved the second one more than the first one.
Oh, me too.
So I reread the book and I was like, oh, this firstly makes so much more sense to me now. But also, what I think the movie did really well was they kept it as grounded as they could. And I think they cut out all of the silly stuff. And I think it's ended up being... I think it's made the brand as a whole and the franchise as a whole better. Because, like, obviously Zendaya has so much of a bigger part in Dune Part 2 than Chani actually does. And I just think it's made the narrative richer. And I think so that person has done that. They have watched the movies first and then read the book. And they said they enjoyed the book. And obviously we'll never know if they wouldn't have enjoyed the book beforehand. But I think were I to do it again, I would watch the movies first and then read the book, which is controversial, I know, but...
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think specifically just for that series and for sci-fi a lot of the time in general. But what intrigues me about Dune is the third movie. How are they going to get... Because it gets really weird,
so weird.
Subsequent books. and I don't know what they're gonna
No.
do with it. I think they're gonna have to change a lot to make it as like accessible to the people who love the first two. I mean, I guess we'll see.
I mean, I think I have good faith in Denis Villeneuve and whoever adapted them. I don't know. But yeah, that third one gets super weird. There's like clones of Duncan, Idaho, and at one point Paul is going to be attacked, so he looks through the eyes of a baby across the room to be able to see like from another point of view. And like, this isn't spoilers because this book came out like 50 years ago, so I don't care. But but yeah, it is weird. It is weird. I kind of feel the same. I wish there was some form of TV show or film of Gideon the Ninth, because I've tried to read that book twice and I just can't get into it and I know I would love it because I love the aesthetic and I love the ideas and like
You would, yeah.
but I just can't. I have no idea what's going on.
I think Gideon is a book that I personally really love. I've read it a few times now, but yeah, I think it just would lend itself and again make it a lot more accessible to a lot of people if it was on screen. But then because it is inherently so different, I feel like it probably would struggle to get adapted or like for someone to be up for the challenge.
Hey, they said that about Dune though. They said that about Dune.
It took 50 years. I mean, there was an original film, but
we don't talk about that one.
Poor Carl. They used it as a learning curve, and they're like, okay, let's make this a bit more grounded than the first.
So what they have to do is make a bad Gideon movie, and then in like
maybe they needed to make one in like the 80s to learn their lesson. Yeah.
Do you know David Lynch took his name off of the Dune movie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, but to be fair, I feel like that movie is like quite fondly remembered now.
I mean, I went and they were showing it before the first, like the reboot of Dune came out. And so I went and saw that by myself before the new one. And I was like, yeah, it's not great, but like in a cinema, I mean, your experience inside a cinema watching a film, I find is always better anyway. But like just having people around me watching it, I enjoyed it a lot more than when I've seen it at home.
That is not the case because I saw Jurassic World Rebirth in a cinema and I still hated it quite a bit.
I didn't hate the movie. I thought it was an improvement over Dominion, which
I haven't
for a Jurassic
seen
World movie.
Dominion.
I mean, Dominion, if anyone relates, Jurassic World movie should have dinosaurs. I think when you shift the focus to bugs, ugly bugs at that, who the hell cares?
Did it have bugs in it?
It was like the main plot were locusts.
What?
I'm like, who the fuck cares? We're here for some dinosaur on dinosaur action. Actually, maybe not that. We are here
to. I want to see hot dinosaur sex in my Jurassic World movie. Well, no. Right, to rein this conversation back in, I saw Fallen Kingdom in the cinema, and I was like, I think that's enough for me because that was not great. Because I liked Jurassic World, right? I didn't think it was perfect, but I liked it. But yeah, I did not enjoy Fallen Kingdom, and I thought, oh well, Rebirth has Jonathan Bailey in it, so I will see it. But yeah, I just thought it was not great. I found all of the characters to be so annoying. Like, about halfway through the movie, someone nearly gets bitten by like a T-Rex. And I just kind of realised I didn't care whether they lived or died. But yeah.
Yeah. I will say, I think the thing that's gone wrong with this franchise especially is like, they're trying to make people, you want to be excited to go see dinosaurs, but everyone in this fucking movie, except for Jonathan Bailey, is like, ugh, dinosaurs, we're sick of them. And like, they've made their world just like sick of dinosaurs. I'm just like, well, what makes us excited about them then? And it's just, after that film finished as well, I was like, they're going to obviously do another one because it's made enough money, but like, I don't even know where they would go with it because they've done fucking everything now.
Not as much.
They can't just find another island.
Not as much as the last ones, though. I don't think it went over $1 billion. Whereas, I mean, like, it made a good amount of money. Like, if my movie made, I think like over 700 million, then I'd be happy. But like, I think that the first 3 Jurassic World movies all made over $1 billion.
Yeah, I it definitely did. But the thing that I think hinders that is that this year the box office has been rough.
Yeah, it has.
That's something I really keep I keep an eye on because I just find it really interesting.
Oh yeah, so do I.
Doing film and stuff. It has been rough. There's only been one movie that's hit $1 billion, which is Lilo and Stitch. Other than, I think there was like a Chinese animation, and I was like, that is worrying.
Yeah, it's that sequel that I can't remember the name of it, but the dub has Michelle Yeoh in it. It's just come out, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like awful. Like, things are still making money, but compared to like, was it 2019? There was like $9 billion movies. 6 of them were Disney. It was just. I mean, COVID definitely has a part with it. I think streaming's kind of ruined the film industry to a certain extent. And I mean, we're kind of just talking about whatever now, but like, it's a little worrying because for someone, I really love going to the cinema.
Oh yeah, so
it's
do
like
I.
my favourite way to watch media. I mean, it's not completely lost because I mean, Avatar 2 is going to make Avatar 3 is going to make a shitload of money. And then there's other films that I'm blanking on that are coming out still. So, I mean, we'll see. But yeah, I think that definitely has a just people's general going to the cinema etiquette is completely different nowadays.
I saw a thing yesterday or the day before, and this ties into how like when Fantastic Four came out, everyone was like, "Oh, it's flopping, it's not making." I'm like, you're comparing pre-pandemic Marvel money, where like Captain Marvel made over $1 billion. Like that just wouldn't happen now. It just wouldn't happen now. It's like I think Fantastic Four making 600 million. That's on a budget of like 200 million. That's not terrible, and they've greenlit a sequel, so that clearly to them,
there is the point that they've got to then double it for marketing their budget. So it's obviously they've probably broke even, but it's also like people compare it to before Endgame, where one obviously before pandemic, but also two the hype that time was ridiculous. Everyone and their mother was seeing a Marvel movie, every single film. Except for Ant-Man, for some reason. No.
I mean, I'd rather have not seen Ant-Man 3, but...
me too,
But, yeah, I mean, and also what that isn't figuring in is merch sales and stuff like that. It's not figuring in that. So, like, I think... But also what I was going to say was this is the first year, and I can't remember the exact number, but it's like the first year in like 5 or 6 years where the top 5 highest grossing movies haven't been superhero movies. Like not one of them is a superhero movie, which is like, do you think that there is superhero fatigue? Do you think that is a thing that exists? Or do you think it's just fatigue for bad superhero movies?
I don't know, because like it's hard to pinpoint. I definitely think there is sort of a fatigue if you just look back at numbers. Because after COVID, people will go see a movie if they want to. Like, Spider-Man made, like, nearly $2 billion without China, which is ridiculous. Yeah. But also, people literally went out... Because we were going... It was like Omicron when Spider-Man came out. People were still going because they love that character. So, I think there's certain superheroes that are just immune, and Spider-Man being one of them. But I think for someone like Superman, where I thought that film was it's my favourite film of the year. And I think... for that, it's kind of... I mean, they're building up a new audience again, so I think we'll have to wait to see how time does it, if that makes sense. Yeah. But again, like, Fantastic Four, while it wasn't an origin story, it was their origin for us. Yeah. So it's, again, building up a new audience. It's stuff like... I mean, it's like Thunderbolts as well, like I loved, and that... Not many people went and saw that, and I think that's also down to just it being... unfamiliar characters.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what happened with Thunderbolts because I think they marketed it really well. It had really good word of mouth because I thought it was a really good movie, and it had some people in it that people love. Like it had Florence Pugh in it, and it didn't do very well. I don't think it even grossed over like 200 million, which is sad to me.
It's a weird one.
It's sad to me.
I think you could tell they panicked because then, like 3 days later, they're like, actually, it's New Avengers.
Yeah.
But it was too late. Like,
well, also, I think the fatigue stems from the fact that, and this is, I think they kind of know this as well, is the connected nature of it was a great gimmick to begin with, but it's become too connected. Like, to understand Thunderbolts, like, I know that my granddad would enjoy Thunderbolts, but he hasn't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp. He hasn't seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He hasn't seen Black Widow. So he doesn't know. Like, it's a sequel to 2 TV series and a movie. or like 2 movies in a TV series. And if you haven't seen those, then you're like, who are these people? I don't care about them. Whereas I was like, I'm really excited to see John Walker again. I'm really excited to see Ghost again. I was excited to see Taskmaster again. And I'm really excited to see Elena again, because Elena her and Kate Bishop are my favourite characters at the moment.
Especially from the newer phases.
Yeah, if they're still insisting that Wanda is dead, which I don't believe that she is. But, boy, we have spoken a lot about Marvel in this episode. I think that is the reason, and I think that's why Kevin Feige has now said, oh, it's not going to be as connected anymore. Which, like, tangent, but I'm rewatching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at the moment, and that is a TV show that, although it was a bit shaky to begin with, did stand on its own, and it might have had little tie-ins or nods or crossovers, but it wasn't completely reliant on you. You had to have seen The Avengers, which was a huge movie, and that a lot of people saw, because it made over $1 billion. And that was it. So I think the reason people are like, oh, I don't want to go and see that, is because they're like, oh, I haven't done my homework. I haven't studied for this Marvel movie.
Yeah. That's the one thing that's different, is that before, people were willing to do their homework because it was just films.
Yeah.
But now that it's ridiculous amount of TV shows as well, like, sure, they're not like 22 episode series anymore. It's still hours upon hours of like homework, and the shows, some of those shows are shockingly bad.
That's what I was going to say. And like the quality varies wildly. I think they shot themselves in the foot a little bit by WandaVision being first, and I think, in my opinion, is still the best like Disney Plus Marvel TV series.
I agree. And you know what's funny? It's WandaVision, Agatha. I really enjoy as well, because guess what? Same creative team.
And you had to have seen one thing.
Bring them back.
You had to have seen one thing. Yeah. Jack
Exactly.
Schaefer. I wish she would do more at Marvel, because I think she's really good. Anyway, William, what have you been doing that isn't reading or watching anything at the moment?
I'm gonna be really lame. I've like proper in my fitness era, which is lame as all hell.
You sickened me.
But it's just, I think, especially being self-employed, I for a long time really struggled with structure. But now, I will go out with my friend. We don't do it every day, and I think we're being really sensible about it. We'll go a couple times a week to the gym. We'll go at like 6:30 in the morning, so it's empty, and it's nice. We just chat the whole time, and it's so chill. And then I get back at like 7:30, nearly 8 o'clock. I'm like, wow, I've got the whole day ahead of me, and it's lovely. And I don't do it every day, because if I did, I would go crazy, and it's way too much. I would get too obsessed with it. But I'm just being I think in the past, when I've gone through these health kicks, I've put so much pressure on it, and I've looked at the numbers and stuff, and that's when you just get really obsessive over it. And I'm not doing that, and I just feel so much better for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, being self-employed, because we are both self-employed, it is really hard to have any form of structure. I was explaining being self-employed to someone, because they were like, oh, isn't it so nice that you get to just hang out in your house all day? I'm like, no, it's not, because that is where all my stuff lives, and I'd rather do that than do any form of work ever. As much as I love my job, this is where all my games consoles and all my books and my cats are. And also I'll be like, oh, why don't I just clean the kitchen instead of having to do work? Or why don't I just hoover? Or maybe I should like whiten all of my trainers. So it is hard to have any form of structure. And I think you are right with exercising. The key is to not go too crazy with it, because that is where the harmful mentality can come from as well, where you start putting too much pressure on yourself, because also it isn't the sort of thing that happens overnight. You know, that is the unhealthy way to go about it, is to try and make it happen overnight. I envy you that you have the willpower to do it. I did used to go to the gym quite a lot, but now I don't, because, well, for one, I can't afford it, and also two, I don't have anyone to go with. And I think that is the part that maybe makes it bearable.
Oh, it is. It's such a game changer. And like, I've done it before, and I've gone myself when my friend's not available, and it's just not the same. No. I'm just like, if I'm not enjoying it, that's going to stop me wanting to go, especially going that early in the morning. And it does, like, we literally don't go crazy with either. Like, we'll just chill, and like, at this place, if you go early enough, you can literally have the classrooms to yourself, so you can do weights in private. And I'm like, this is what I want. Yeah. I want private, because I think as well, it's just the nature of that sort of environment. It can get it's intimidating.
Yeah, it is. The big men scare me.
Yeah, I'll never get over it, but like being able to just like ease myself in like that has been really, really nice. And now I do it, like it, and I don't do it every day. And the days I don't, I'll just go on a walk, and it's just nice. I think it's just me trying to make a little difference, and I don't even know how to describe it. It's doing me wonders, I think.
I used to like going to the spinning class because it would just be me and like one old man, and then the rest would be ladies. I feel so much less intimidated when I'm in a gym with women than men. They scare me. The thing that I have been doing is I have been playing Alan Wake 2 on my PlayStation 5. Have you heard of this series?
I have, yeah.
Have you played the first one?
No.
I feel like you would probably enjoy it. So it is about a writer. The first one, it came out in 2010. It's about a writer who goes away to this like New England town. So it's like dense forests, lakes, quaint little towns. And then he wakes up in his crashed car. His wife is missing. And this isn't spoilers because this is like the premise of the game. But this like dark, evil, hellish presence then starts to take over the town, and people start to get possessed. And it becomes like a bit like a cover shooter. Not really a cover shooter, but like you have to fight the dark presence. And at the end of this game, he gets stuck in the dark presence. This sequel takes place 13 years later. An FBI agent called Saga Anderson is looking into a murder that happened in the same town, whilst Alan Wake, the writer, is trying to write his way out of this dark place because it feeds off of creativity. It's just wacky and wild and crazy in the best way. One of the levels, you are stuck in the dark place playing as Alan Wake, and you walk through a musical section where a Finnish rock band sing a song about your childhood. It's also terrifying. There have been nights where I've been like, I can't play this anymore because I'm too scared. It's always doing something so surprising and so creative. It's so fun. And it's left me in a bit of a game slump. I tried to then play Death Stranding after it, which is the one with Norman Reedus in it, made by Hideo Kojima. Yeah. And I just was like, this is not filling the same itch. I want something that has a really engrossing story and is really creative and doing exciting stuff. And for me, that wasn't doing it. And also, as we are now officially in autumn, I want to play scary stuff. I want to play stuff that scares me. And that game did properly scare me. I think you would probably enjoy them. And if you could jump into the sequel, because the sequel, I think, overall is better. It's just crazy and wacky and a really fun, scary time, and I really enjoyed it.
I'll have to give it a go. I do struggle with scary games because I get scared as hell. I mean, I remember the first time playing... oh my gosh, what's it called? The popular horror... Dead by Daylight?
Dead by Daylight isn't even scary.
No, but Joe, I've got a thing... I don't know what it's called, but I can't even play hide and seek because I get so fucking stressed.
You're the person who's like, I'm here.
Yeah, that's me. So like, if I am hiding, I am literally shivering. I am so scared. I even when I play Fortnite, which I've been playing a bit recently with my little brother, and I have a lot of fun, but I go through phases playing Fortnite. If I'm in the bottom two. Like, they've just added, like, a new feature where it's, like, the proximity chat. I can't do it, because I will literally just be screaming, trying to survive. It's horrible.
That makes me sad, because I love horror games so much. I love... Like, when I go and see a horror movie, I, like, cover my eyes and I close my ears, and my mum's like, you're not even watching it. I'm like, but this is what the movie is trying to make me feel. Like, it's working, and I like that feeling. I like being scared. I mean, the worst horror game that I have ever played in my entire life, and in worst, I don't mean quality-wise, I mean the most terrifying, still is Alien Isolation.
Yeah, you were saying this the other week.
Oh my god. There was... I think I hid in the same locker for about 5 minutes once, because I just couldn't leave, because I was so scared. It's so scary. It's so scary. I've leaned more into, like, the Resident Evils in recent years, because they are a little bit silly and a little bit crazy. But they still are pretty scary. I think you would also like them, and they are much better than the movies. The movies are not very...
I've only seen the movies.
The movies are not very good.
I'll have to.
The movies are not very good. Right. That, I think, is about it for today. William, where can the people find you on the internet?
Well, I guess my main thing is Bill Reads on TikTok. Also, Bill Reads LOL on Instagram, because Bill Reads was taken. But also, if you want to grab my books, you can grab them at any good bookshop, or check out my website at billwood.co.uk. And what about you, Joseph?
I am joe.reads on TikTok and joe.reads with 2 S's on Instagram because Joe Reads was already taken. Be Right Back comes out when?
October 9th, and if you're in the US, it's coming out in March for you guys.
Which might have already happened, for all we know. You can contact the podcast at fictionfrictionpod@gmail.com. You can also follow us at fictionfrictionpod on Instagram. And that leaves us to say thank you so much for listening. We will be back soon. Goodbye.
Yeah, thanks for watching or listening.
Or listening with your ear holes. Goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.